He was 50, richer than kings, but lonelier than a stranger. She was only 20, with nothing except a kind heart and an impossible dream. The whole world mocked them. His family called her a gold digger. Her friends said she was ruining her life. But on the day the truth came out, everyone fell silent. Because this wasn't a story about money or age. It was a story about two broken souls who proved that real love is measured by sacrifice, loyalty, and kindness, not by numbers. Stay until the end, because the final moment will leave you in tears. 50 years old, billionaire Daniel Carter owned skyscrapers, private jets, and luxury homes across the world. Newspapers called him the king of business, yet every evening he returned to an empty mansion filled only with silence. His greatest success had become his greatest prison. Money bought everything except genuine love, and after years of betrayal, Daniel stopped believing love could ever be real. Across the city lived 20-year-old Emily Brooks. She worked 2 jobs while attending college and spent every spare dollar helping her sick grandmother. Their tiny apartment had cracked walls and broken furniture, yet it was always filled with laughter, hope, and kindness. Emily believed true wealth was found in helping others, even when she had almost nothing herself. One rainy evening, Daniel's expensive car suddenly broke down near a small neighborhood cafe. His security team searched for help, but everyone stayed inside to avoid the storm. Emily noticed the stranded stranger, grabbed an umbrella, and walked through the heavy rain to offer help, never realizing she was speaking to one of the world's richest men. Daniel expected people to recognize him immediately, but Emily treated him like any ordinary traveler. She offered him a warm cup of coffee and even paid for it herself after noticing he had left his wallet inside the car. Her kindness carried no hidden motive. For the first time in years, Daniel experienced generosity without conditions. During their conversation, Emily shared stories about caring for her grandmother, studying hard, and dreaming of opening a free community library for children. Daniel listened quietly. She never asked about his wealth or career. Instead, she asked whether he was happy. The simple question touched a wound he had hidden for decades. When Daniel finally introduced himself, Emily smiled politely but admitted she had never followed billionaire news. She cared more about people than headlines. Daniel laughed sincerely for the first time in months. Her honesty felt refreshing in a world where nearly everyone admired his money instead of his character. Days later, Daniel returned to the cafe hoping to see Emily again. They talked about books, dreams, family, and life instead of expensive possessions. Daniel slowly realized that every conversation with her made him forget the loneliness waiting inside his mansion. Friendship began replacing the emptiness that had consumed him for years. Rumors spread quickly after photographers captured Daniel and Emily having lunch together. Social media exploded with cruel comments. Some accused Emily of chasing money, while others mocked Daniel for falling for someone 30 years younger. Neither of them expected strangers to judge a friendship they knew nothing about. Daniel offered Emily financial support for college, but she respectfully declined. She explained that accepting money without earning it would make her lose the independence her parents had taught her to value. Daniel admired her integrity even more. Her refusal proved she valued dignity far above luxury. One evening, Daniel confessed something he had never admitted to anyone. "I've spent 30 years building an empire," he said softly, "but I've forgotten how to trust another human being." Emily answered with gentle honesty. "Trust isn't bought. It's built one honest choice at a time." Those words quietly changed the direction of Daniel's life forever. Weeks passed, and Daniel and Emily continued meeting at the little cafe. They visited museums, parks, and charity events together. Daniel admired Emily's compassion, while Emily discovered the lonely man hidden behind the billionaire's success. Their friendship became the happiest part of both their lives, even as the world continued to misunderstand them. Daniel invited Emily to tour one of his charities. She noticed that many projects lacked personal attention despite generous funding. Instead of praising him, she suggested spending more time listening to the people they served. Daniel accepted her advice with humility. For the first time, someone challenged him with kindness instead of fear. Emily's grandmother noticed the happiness returning to Daniel's face whenever he visited. One evening, she quietly asked, "Do you truly care for each other?" Both smiled without answering. She reminded them that real love is measured by respect, honesty, and sacrifice, not by age, wealth, or public opinion. Daniel's family reacted with anger after seeing more news headlines. His brother accused Emily of chasing the family fortune. His business partners warned that the relationship could damage the company's reputation. Daniel calmly defended Emily, saying, "Judge her heart, not her age." His words shocked everyone in the room. Emily faced criticism as well. Friends at college whispered that she was using Daniel for luxury and fame. Some even ended their friendships. Although the rumors hurt deeply, Emily refused to defend herself publicly. She believed that time always reveals the truth better than arguments ever could. One afternoon, Daniel surprised Emily by taking her to an empty building he had recently purchased. "Imagine this becoming your dream library," he said. Emily smiled, but instead of accepting it as a gift, she insisted they build it together as a charity project for underprivileged children. Daniel admired her selfless vision as they worked side by side. Their bond grew stronger. Daniel realized he no longer feared waking up each morning because he had someone who inspired hope instead of ambition. Emily saw beyond the billionaire's title and loved the gentle, thoughtful man who encouraged others to dream again. One quiet evening by the lake, Daniel spoke honestly. "I never believed love could return to my life." Emily replied, "Love doesn't care about the calendar. It only asks whether two hearts are willing to protect each other." Daniel held her hand with respect, and both silently accepted the feelings growing between them. Daniel proposed in a peaceful garden surrounded by flowers rather than luxury. There were no cameras, no reporters, and no expensive decorations, only honesty. Emily stood speechless before gently saying yes. Tears filled Daniel's eyes because, after decades of success, he had finally received the one answer money could never buy. News of their engagement spread around the world overnight. Television shows debated their age difference, newspapers questioned Emily's intentions, and social media exploded with criticism. While strangers judged their relationship, Daniel and Emily focused only on preparing for a simple wedding built on love, respect, and shared purpose, unaware that an emotional surprise awaited everyone. The wedding day arrived under a bright blue sky. Guests from around the world filled the beautiful garden venue. Reporters waited outside, hoping for drama. Daniel wore a simple black suit, while Emily walked down the aisle in an elegant white dress. Despite the whispers and judgment around them, they smiled only at each other. During the ceremony, Daniel's older brother suddenly stood up and interrupted. He accused Emily of marrying only for money and demanded she sign away every right to Daniel's fortune before the wedding continued. The guests fell silent, expecting Emily to become angry or walk away in tears. Emily calmly asked for a microphone. Without hesitation, she signed the legal document that gave up every claim to Daniel's wealth. Then she smiled gently and said, "I came here to marry a good man, not his bank account." The room became completely silent as everyone stared at her in disbelief. Daniel was deeply moved. With tears in his eyes, he tore the document into pieces. Looking at his family, he said, "You tested the wrong person. She has already proven what none of you ever did, that love cannot be purchased." Many guests lowered their heads in shame. Emily then revealed a secret she had kept for months. Every charity donation Daniel had made recently had been inspired by their shared dream, and together they had quietly funded schools, libraries, and medical care for struggling families. They never announced it publicly because they believed kindness needed no applause. Daniel's family was stunned. While they had been protecting an inheritance, Emily had been helping strangers without expecting recognition. His brother slowly walked toward her with tears in his eyes and apologized for judging her. Emily accepted his apology with kindness, proving that forgiveness is stronger than revenge. After the ceremony, Daniel and Emily visited the new community library instead of attending a luxury reception. Hundreds of children welcomed them with smiles, handmade cards, and flowers. Daniel whispered, "This is the happiest celebration of my life." Emily smiled because their greatest gift was seeing hope in young hearts. Months later, the couple continued traveling the world, opening schools, libraries, and family support centers. People who had once criticized their relationship now admired the compassion they shared. Their story became a reminder that true love is shown through daily actions, not public opinions or social expectations. One evening, Daniel looked at the sunset beside Emily and quietly said, "For years I searched for happiness in success. I finally found it in kindness, trust, and the courage to love again." Emily held his hand and replied, "The richest heart is the one that gives without expecting anything back." Years later, people no longer remembered the headlines about their age difference. Instead, they remembered the thousands of lives changed through their compassion. Daniel had once believed love was impossible, but Emily showed him that genuine love is built on respect, honesty, sacrifice, and shared purpose. Their legacy was never their wealth. It was the hope they gave to others. Moral of the story: true love is never measured by age, wealth, or public opinion. It is measured by trust, respect, sacrifice, and the kindness two people bring into each other's lives and into the world.